screen. I'm just gonna double check that everything is okay, and then we could get the ball rolling, rolling. Screen manager. Stop. Testing 1 2 3. Yeah, let's just give it a second to catch up. Isn't there always gonna be a delay, like 5 minutes? Not 5 minutes, but like 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Yeah, might is. Okay, that's good. Good, we good. So it's streaming. Today we're critiquing Donald Trump. I don't even know if I should call it a critique, bro, because we're just gonna go off on a tangent, right? You know, cat, bro. I'm trying to watch this video. Okay. Today we're watching this video, bro. No other, nothing else.
They don't seem to give up easily. They don't give up.
I'm gonna be rude,
They
bro.
don't give up, but they do seem to be, they have a passion that's maybe more than people that don't do as well.
You've said that politics is a dirty game in the past.
It is a dirty game. It's certainly true.
So if it is a game, how do you win at that game?
Well, you win at that game by getting the word out and by using sense. You have to have a feeling where it's going. You also have to have a feeling of what's right. You can't necessarily just go what's popular. You have to do what's good for a country if you're talking about countries. But you have to get the word out, and you have to just continuously, like, for instance, you have a great show. You have a great podcast. It's very well watched. And
okay, turns out the mic wasn't muted, so they're gonna hear that shit twice on the stream. But I'll be careful. I'll be careful of that in the future. But anyways, I was trying to get into a conversation about why is it so hard to do the right thing, or what some people already know is the right thing, but they don't like any action taken towards it. Like what we were saying about healthcare.
Well, it's the whole thing is, can you say that again?
So we in our mind know what the right thing is. Like we want free education, free healthcare, all that. We know that's the right thing to help the elderly and all that, right? To help anybody that's in need. Why is it so hard to take action to make that reality?
Would it be more because some people don't think it's the right thing? Like some people don't have that belief that it's the right thing to do.
But you would still agree that majority believe it to be the right thing.
Yes.
So if majority believe it, why doesn't the majority take action to it? Why do they conform to the greed of other people?
It would sound like manipulation.
So majority gets manipulated into not taking action?
Yeah. That's how I would see it. Because if the majority wants something and there's a small group that has a hold of the majority, even though they're the majority, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck?
But the thing is, why do they have a hold on the majority to begin with? Like, I know strength in numbers, right? If I know I'm part of the majority, everybody knows they're not part of the 1% minority or the top 10% minority. If we're middle class, right? The name middle class in itself says that you're in the majority, because most countries are made up of 80%, 90% middle class. The people who maintain the structure. If I know I'm in the majority and I know that I have the power to do something, why do I feel helpless at the same time?
It's because you know it feels like you have no power. So it's more like you don't have that faith, or at least you know. This is where my whole thing with faith comes in.
Yeah.
I would put that right there as in faith. You must have that faith. We lost that faith.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, we feel hopeless since we no longer have that faith that something is going to change.
Well, faith is a very abstract concept. There has to be something physical in play that affects your faith.
Well, can you elaborate on that?
So, like, what my thinking is why the majority doesn't feel like they have power is because they don't actually think they're part of the majority. Because I think greedy people's dogma has been divide and conquer throughout history, right? That's what they did in India. That's what they did in Africa with colonizing, divide and conquer. That's what they did in South Africa, divide and conquer. That's what they did in Rwanda. There was a genocide happening in Rwanda I don't know why it started, but it was all about division and racism. Like there was a darker skin color, or I don't know. I think it was two different villages or clans that were fighting each other. Um, but what I'm trying to get to is that if greedy people rule by dividing and conquering people, it means that even though we all believe something to be right, we're always trying to convince each other of our viewpoint without realizing that we're both believing the same things. Like you and I may be saying the same thing, but we have a different way of saying it. So then we start disagreeing on it. So there isn't like a unified language, I guess, that people understand to make them feel like the majority.
It's kind of interesting how we kind of know we're thinking about the same thing
after enough conversation.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't get to that in-depth conversation. They just shut out the other side.
That is very
pretty
true.
early.
Now you bring that up, that is straight, yeah.
Yeah, because like my dad is religious, and when I present him atheistic ideas, he shuns them. But really, we both have the same end goal of spiritual well-being. You know, it's just a different way of reaching it. While my dad may think that a strict dogma that's provided by religion helps him reach that spiritual well-being, I, on the other hand, think that freedom, a free dogma, like a free way of life, helps me reach that spiritual well-being. But the end goal is the same, and we can both agree on it if we're smart enough. But you can never convince somebody that you and I have the same end goal if we have different methods of getting there.
That is true.
You know, it's super hard to explain. Like
I'm a bit off topic, but it's like who made this whole kind? It's like a psychology game. Like who implemented this kind of idea of thinking where we can't get along? If that makes sense.
Stories. Like if you think about earlier stories, there's always a hero and a villain. You learn that it's a binary choice. Either you're a hero or you're a villain. And of course, in your eyes, you're always going to be the hero. You know, you'll never paint yourself as a villain unless you're a sadistic or a masochist, right? You don't want to be a villain in any story. You want to be the hero. Even if it's an anti-hero, it's still a hero nonetheless. Like you want to succeed at the end of your life.
Do you think this is just an individualist thinking because of how the United States is?
Maybe. The whole thing of freedom of speech is a big concept of debates. Is, well, I could say this, freedom of speech, and the other person feels the same way. And they don't get to like an in-depth conversation because the way the laws are set up, they can be used to make condescending remarks to each other.
So it's kind of in a way that America kind of is losing its freedom of speech.
That's interesting because the more you individualize, the more you lose sight of perspective. And what you were saying about the internet, how the internet gives you so many perspectives. If you don't like one, you can just move on to the next. There's no stakes.
That is true.
So freedom of speech in a way is under attack. Because now everybody's conforming, right? I think people have always conformed. Like that's nothing new. But the way of their conforming, like political parties, how people only vote for one or two parties, like Democrat or Republican, when there's like 6 choices on that piece of paper. They don't even see the other choices. They only vote for Democrat or Republican. That's no freedom of speech. That's no freedom of expression.
And in a way, it's kind of like the two parties are similar.
They have the same goal, to support the war economy.
Yeah.
But they just say it differently. They both have the same end goal.
So basically, who would be on top of in charge of that, all that?
I guess that's the data they don't let us collect.
Yeah, and that's where a whole bunch of conspiracies come out, and then you see some conspiracies get proven right. Some obviously are wrong, but like the ones that are right, it's like, and that would be a whole nother war psychology because you put out misinformation to deflect from the actual questioning that you were doing originally. Now you're questioning all these stupid things like, oh, these are lizard people. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it can get pretty crazy. But I don't blame those people now that I think about it because they're just working off of the data they have.
Yeah.
Like they may not have a lot of data, so they just work off of that. And they don't allow us to collect all the data. Like that's why we have classified files and declassified files, because the government automatically assumes the population is not intelligent enough to handle the reality of the world. That they would cause riots and they would blow up the system. Just their fear of that proves that the government that we're living in, a lot of people won't be satisfied with it because they're trying to hide it. in a way.
It's a whole chess checker game, bro.
Of how much to give the population that they don't destroy the society
It's
they
more
live in.
like how I see this, making sure to maintain control. Like you're a king,
Yeah,
you don't want to be overthrown. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So there's different steps to this, and then there'll be more system. You fall into another system, you could go deeper, so it would make it hard to go back to originally where you started.
yeah. I forgot how I started this.
Yeah, me too.
Why does a majority conform? When they have a sense of knowing they're part of the majority.
Because it's comfort. They feel comfort in the way of you
Mm,
have all this opportunity to do whatever you want, be a musician, do all.
I see. But anything base level, nothing crazy in the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Yes, you just don't think too far ahead. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Don't people want to get to these kind of thoughts first and keep it
yeah,
gatekeep for some reason because they could benefit off it, like selling it into a course.
yeah.
That would be the whole psychology. That would be the scam of it. Like
No,
I'm not gonna. I found it though. I found it myself, so I'm not gonna make it easy. Let me benefit. Let me not. I mean, I found this thought myself. This process.
yeah.
Let me see what I can benefit in this country because it's hard. So let me fuck someone over instead of helping them.
But that's a subconscious choice, right? Not a conscious choice.
Yes, I would say it's subconscious choice. It's just something that you learn
Yeah.
that you don't realize yourself, or
No, no, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about like the act of holding information. Do you think they do that on purpose, or it just happens as a survival instinct?
how I was saying it. I think it is a survival. It's survival. It's so it makes sure it's like a defense mechanism. It, the people that hold
Hold,
that power,
yeah,
they like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Defense mechanism.
yeah,
Yeah, it's subconscious now. Like they don't even realize they're probably doing it now. They just know it's working, so they keep doing it.
yeah. And they're so disconnected with the people that they don't even see the suffering.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting.
So where do you go from that? Because if majority are suffering, then majority are gonna bottle up feelings and eventually explode. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a couple of years or 100 years.
But that's the whole cycle of it, right? That's like wars and shit.
But it has to end somewhere, or will it go on for infinity?
This is one of the loop questions that I like to call it loop because it's like we don't have that intelligence yet, so we have to come back to this thought right here and keep going to maybe figure out some more thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's how people some people receive prophethood in
Mhm.
their era, because they brought long-lasting peace, no wars, nothing.
Mhm.
So they were considered prophets.
Yeah,
But
but
they didn't, like what I've heard, like for example, Moses, he wiped out an entire civilization. So the
Mhm.
only reason peace existed is because he killed the opposition completely. So in that sense, if the majority wants to win, they have to kill the minority, which would be the politicians and
would you
the
think?
higher power.
Do you think that would be like another kind of setback, a division thing? Like make these people fight each other?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because that, like, look at history now. Even after Moses succeeded in bringing peace, eventually that peace went away because the people started fighting with each other.
Mhm.
So
So
that's not the right way.
it's a different source of history. It's like it's a different history than what we're seeing
It's a different history than what we want to
or what
repeat.
we told,
What we want to repeat.
what we want to repeat.
Yeah. Because you don't want to, like, if Moses was an actual figure and not just a religious figure, right? There are stories of him wiping out civilizations. And if it's historically correct that he did um, wipe out a civilization and it brought peace, then isn't that kind of what Israel is doing in Palestine?
Yeah,
To wipe out Palestine and then they will have peace.
that
But
that
slowly they're entering other countries now too.
yeah,
So maybe they think that until they wipe out everybody, they won't have peace in the Arab world.
that could be. Isn't it that kind? Isn't it in the Arab world kind of similar too?
That they
Like
would fight for
they want,
Israel?
or they kind of like the Arab world is very religious based, right?
Oh yeah.
So could it be that? Fuck, where was I going with this? Nah, I lost my thought.
It's cool. I don't know what I was talking about, honestly. It was just going back and forth.
Yes, I mean we could watch it. Let's I think continue the video.
Yeah.
It's the whole loop thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I do this. A lot of people see it, and I do other things, and a lot of people see that. and I go traditional also. You have traditional television, which is getting a little bit older and maybe less significant. Could be less significant. I don't know, but it's changing a lot. The whole plane of platform is changing a lot. It's changed a lot in the last 2 3 years. But from a political standpoint, you have to find out what people are doing, what they're watching, and you have to get it. You have to get on. I just see that these platforms are starting to dominate. They're getting very big.
What you think he just said now is why it's kind of gate kept. You have to get on it. You have to know this thing more than other people because you can easily now manipulate them.
Or it could be just that it's uncomfortable to get on these platforms. So a lot of people don't try to get on there. Um, but that would imply that the majority deserves to be ruled over because they don't take any initiative.
That is an interesting take.
Because it's true, majority don't take initiative.
It is true.
A lot of people like the comfort of the life they live. I've talked to so many people who are comfortable living in the same place, working a job for 25 years.
So they don't have a problem. So
I guess so. We have a problem with it because we want to change it, but not the majority. So us trying to convince the majority is a lost cause in that sense.
Yeah.
Because we want to be on that platform and have our voice heard and bring change, but that change is for us, for our sake, not the majority's sake, even if we paint it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That's something new right there.
That is something new. That even though when we think we're being selfless, we're being selfish.
That is very interesting.
I wonder how people will look at it. Like, look, these two dumbass motherfuckers sitting here.
No, it's gonna be like, man, they just yapping, bro.
They're just yapping it up.
Yo, we should have named that as a title, just yapping it up, or that's what we should be called, just yapping it up.
I can change it now if we want.
No, it's alright. Just an idea, just yapping it up.
Yeah.
Numbers. I did spaces with Elon, and they got numbers like nobody's ever heard before. So this is you wouldn't do that on like radio. You wouldn't do those numbers, no matter how good a show. You wouldn't do those numbers on radio. You wouldn't do them on television.
You've been successful in business. You've been successful in politics. What do you think is the difference between gaining success between the two different, disparate worlds?
Yeah, and they're different, very different. I have a lot of people that are in business that are successful, and they'd like to go over to politics, and then you realize they can't speak.
Okay.
You think that's why they all do drugs? Like presidents, they just be getting high.
You think so?
I mean, just think about it. The amount of news you hear about politicians, doing all these drugs and shit.
I'm not looking up ChatGPT for that.
See what kind? See it's not. See what kind of
They choke.
Yeah. Wi-Fi is good. It's your laptop. That's the problem.
They put a video on code. What was our question?
Hold
Oh,
on.
what did I say?
President's doing drugs.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, I got a new follower.
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be scandals about that just cause.
I just got a new follower from this
From
screen.
Twitch?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Hey, yo, say what's up to?
May love 7x9 TTV.
Yo, I guess
Thank you.
we didn't even think about like leaving the stream, leave your stream and see if there's chat there. Cause maybe
There isn't. I'm looking
I
at
know,
it.
but I mean, I'm just leave it on the whole time.
Kill that battery and shit.
Excuses.
I can put it here.
Cause I also want to engage with people. You know what I mean? Like if they caught me and we missed it.
No, they haven't said anything.
I know, but I'm just saying like.
You're right. You're right.
Stop
You're right, bro. God damn it. Don't you play with us.
I'm right. I knew it.
Okay. Pull up the chat. Chat. Oh yeah, there it is. Chat. Shit.
20 gift a sub, say less.
That'd be crazy. I don't even know if they can give me one thing yet. Okay, how's that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
It's doing some technical shit.
Can we put on TV too or not?
We would. You want to?
I just think that shit would look cool. You know what I mean?
You know,
Oh,
it's hard to make a speech in.
oh no, it's gonna be blocking the video, right?
Yeah, on my PC I have it where when somebody leaves a comment it comes up.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
it's up here on default too.
That's cool.
Wait, let me mute the mic.
Front of that. Let's say you're talking about a big audience, but I get very big audiences, and you know, for many people, it's virtually impossible to get up and speak for an hour and a half and have nobody leave. You know, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's an ability. But I have many people that are very, very successful in business would love to do what I did, and yet they can't pull the trigger. And in many cases, I don't think it would work. Almost for everybody, it's not going to work. It's a very tough thing to do. It's a big transition. And now, if you talked about people,
I just want to put it in the recording. It's exactly what we said.
Yeah, and this where I go more about spiritual things. This is where I would call like in the spiritual kind of rabbit hole, like a whole thing about oneness, synchronicity. You're noticing it more because you're getting more conscious about it.
I see.
Flow state.
So we're getting more aligned with his journey.
Yeah,
Trump's.
yeah,
Because he knows he knows how it feels to be an outcast.
and he's in his position right now, and we're starting to understand that only could mean that we are already in that position
Well, no.
in a sense, but it takes time.
Yeah, because he has much more experience and data than us. That's why we're the bums and he's the leader.
That's where I think your mentality is limited.
What you mean?
Because you're holding yourself in that same position. No, I'm not like him yet. Instead of
No, I don't want to be like him.
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about more of the whole flow state of things, being conscious of things.
But I'm not holding myself back from being conscious of it because I just said that it's exactly what I was saying.
Okay, but you just said that, but you denied yourself the fact that you aren't like him. You can't. I said you could potentially be him. That is him, right?
Oh yeah,
But
I agree. I could potentially be him.
not literally him, like as a person. But
I know, but like
that.
his post,
Yeah,
like his path in the world,
yeah,
I could
his
mimic that.
success.
But I'm not like him right now, is what I'm saying, because I don't have the data to be like him. The shit that he knows to get there, I don't know, and I can't get there yet.
For real, if I believe that, it feels to me like it throws me back. But if I believe that I am him,
Yeah,
that's a version of me right there because I understand what he's saying right now.
yeah.
That pushes me
Yo,
closer to him.
we're not Trump fanboys. We're just using him as an example.
Oh yeah, I don't support both of them.
Yeah, I mean, like he seems cool when we're listening to him, but we're just talking about like my friend is.
This is deep. This is deeper. If you want to start learning about stuff, you start looking for something like this.
Analyze
Yeah,
the psyche of somebody you
analyze yourself within this video. Analyze the video within yourself. However, this video is gonna help you. Do it your way.
Damn, bro, you became a motivational speaker. Now time to sell a course.
Yo, this is the whole thing. You see, this where the thing is with the manipulation. I can manipulate that, but I don't want to. I want to help people.
Yeah,
I don't want to benefit off people, and that's where a lot of people leave off. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna stop right here. This is good enough for me. I can make success by benefiting off people.
but you know, even in your desire to help people, they're not gonna take your help because majority, like we said, like comfort, and what you're offering is discomfort. So they may like what you're saying, but they're not gonna implement it.
That's what I understand, and that's okay. I'm not gonna force anyone to believe that.
Yeah, but you could. This is what I was thinking about a couple of days ago. There's sleeper cells among us that can be triggered by our words. If we give them the right ideologies, they can be awoken. That deep feeling within them. Because I felt like an outcast for a lot of my life. because I rejected religion, I rejected structure, I rejected everything. And the only voices I found were like emo people that were depressed and stuff. So I naturally became depressed. There wasn't a composed person with my belief structure. So the voices that are similar to mine were led astray to be emos and depressed people because nobody really came up as an intellectual saying, yes, here I'm an atheist and here's why. And like, here's my political beliefs and here's why. I know things are confusing, which will relate to people because a lot of people find politics confusing, for example. But I never had somebody go up there and be composed and say properly why they think the six-party system or like having multiple options for election is better than a binary approach, you know? And that could maybe just be that I didn't look hard enough. But the fact is that this wasn't mainstream information. So a lot of people just became depressed because they felt like a lone voice out there with nobody to relate to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I forgot how we started again, bro.
But no, that point right there, those are people I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
That is that is the target.
But majority won't listen is what I was saying.
Yeah.
I remember.
I guess finding your own niche and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like this in itself is a niche. Being so, I was explaining this to a girl today that I matched on Bumble.
Oh yeah,
so I was telling her like, I actually talked to ChatGPT. Like I reflected with ChatGPT. I journal with it. So it was saying, or what I came up with is you know, a neural network. A neural network has a whole bunch of neurons, and I'm talking about it from a machine learning perspective, how AI models are made. So the way it works is that each neuron is like a human in a neural network. Think of neural network like the society, and the neurons, the people that live in the society. Okay, so most people are basically the same because that's what keeps society structured. That if somebody new is born, they can instantly know what's going on, you know, like as they grow up. So those are the good neurons. But a neural network also has a concept of a bad neuron that kind of goes rogue from the neural system. And by going rogue, it's open to experimenting with new things. And by experimenting, it dismantles the existing structure and introduces something more efficient. So what I'm trying to say is that it's important for society to be 90% good neurons, the conformists, or maybe 99 or 95%.
So you're kind of saying like we have more bad neurons.
We are bad neurons.
Yeah.
We're the personification of a bad neuron who goes and looks as if they're delusional to the good neurons, but it's all to question structure and improve society in a way.
Yeah.
You know, that's the best explanation I could come up with.
I like that. It's like there's a Sunday thing and then Rico. Like,
somebody has to go.
Yeah.
It's like a spaceship leaving Earth to find different planets. It's that some people will think it's delusional to think there's life on another planet. But if a spaceship does find life on another planet, it would be revolutionary to our way of thinking. You know, it's the search for revolutionary thought or revolutionary action.
That kind of goes with the whole psychology of the fake moon landing thing, right?
Yeah, the delusion.
Yeah.
Because those are the good neurons saying that bad neuron is out of his mind. You know? But that shit is important to the bad neurons because they know how important it is to improve society from what it is now to what it can be. I don't know why we paused on this, but like I was saying, he's talking exactly about what we're talking about, is that if you're an outcast, you're already a minority, you know? In a sense, we are outcasts, you know? And Trump was outcasted by the media so much, bro. Like if you think about it, so he must know deeply what it means to be an outcast. To think that even if you have something good in your head, to think that people brush it off because he's white or because he was born to a rich family or because of his history. We all make mistakes in our history, but I can't judge his character of who he is now based off of the history.
Yeah.
Because now, like, I know we're only fucking 6 minutes in.
And last time, we were only 4?
Yeah. We tried doing this yesterday. We did a recording and we only got to 4 minutes and then we called it a night.
If you want to see that, let us know.
It's a 1 hour long recording. But anyways, he knows what it feels to be out of place.
Yeah.
So when I listen to him now, I went in with the expectation of he's going to be an asshole because of the media.
Yeah.
But when I listen to him, he's a human.
Yeah, he's respect.
Yeah.
Respect.
The shit he talks about, I can relate to. So my delusion kind of went away. I guess we all have delusion in a sense. It's just how much of it can we
question.
can be removed.
Yeah,
All right.
I like that. I like that. That sounds good.
Yeah.
In the business and politics, going into business, likewise, that wouldn't generally work out so well either. It's different talents, it's different skills. I have somebody who wants to go into politics so bad, but he's got a little problem. He's got stage fright. Now, he's a total killer, but if he gets up into a stage in front of people, he doesn't do well. To put it mildly, actually. I mean, he does badly.
So you have to be able to make hard decisions like you do in business, but also be able to captivate an audience.
Look, if you're a politician, you have to be able to speak in front of large crowds. There are a lot of people can't do that. I've seen it. They can't even think about doing it, and they don't. There are many people in business right now. I could name them, but I don't want to embarrass anybody. They've been talking about running for president for 15 years. And they're very big in business, very well known, actually. But it takes guts to run. Like for president, I can tell you it takes guts to run. It's also a very dangerous profession, if you want to know the truth, but dangerous in a different sense, too. But it takes a lot of courage to run for president. It's not easy, but you have, and you know, the same people as I do. There are a lot of people that would like to run for president that are very, very successful in business, but they don't have the guts to do it. And they have to give up a lot.
One of the great things about people from the business world is they're often great deal makers. And you're a great deal maker. And you've talked about the war in Ukraine and that you would be able to find a deal that both Putin and Zelensky would accept. What do you think that deal looks like?
I think the deal, and I wouldn't talk about it too much because I think I can make a deal. If I win as president elect, I'll have a deal made, guaranteed. That's a war that shouldn't have happened. It's terrible. Look, Biden is the worst president in the history of our country, and she's probably worse than him. That's something that should have never happened, but it did happen, and now it's a much tougher deal to make than it would have been before it started. Millions of people. I think the number is going to be a lot higher when you see this all at some point iron out. I think the death numbers are going to be a lot higher than people think. When you take a look at the destruction and the buildings coming down all over the place in Ukraine, I think those numbers are going to be a lot higher. They lie about the numbers. They try and keep them low. They knock down a building that's 2 blocks long. These are big buildings, and they say one person was mildly injured. No, no, a lot of people were killed, and there are people in those buildings, and they have no chance. Once they start coming down, there's no chance. So that's a war that absolutely has to get done. And then you have Israel, and then you have a lot of other places that are talking war. The world is a rough place right now, and a lot of it's because of the fact that America has no leadership. And I believe that she'll be probably worse than Biden. I watched the interview the other night. I mean, it was just
What he said is that the world is in a terrible place right now because America has no leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that a time like this is necessary for new minds to get a chance to show themselves?
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
I always thought that it would be the time of war when I could show my true qualities. Time of conflict, when somebody needs to help desperately.
It's the time before the war starts.
The wars have already started.
But like I'm talking about like World War.
We're already intertwined with two different wars
Yeah,
that are on the other side of the world.
Our country ourselves hasn't been attacked until we're the ones that get attacked.
Our country was attacked once by Japan. Even in World War One, I don't
I'm
think.
talking about recent, like before it happened.
But nobody would want you before anything happens.
So look, what I mean, like, so, fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Like right now, it's peace. Nobody wants us.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So like you say, think of the mass.
Yeah.
The mass right now is for war.
Well,
in a sense,
I didn't mean war just in a physical sense. I mean war as in like internal conflicts of people's mindsets. Like the mind is at war.
Would you say like in your mind is also what happens out your mind? It could happen out your mind.
I think it's a reflection of the world that already exists.
So what I'm saying is, if we
Yes, yes.
you didn't hear,
What you said, like what's going on inside you will happen on the outside, right?
uh,
Manifestation.
yeah. So we kind of think about it that we are going into a war, then a war will happen. If that's what the mass thinks.
Yeah, they'll make it happen
Yeah.
because they'll get so scared. They'll stockpile shit. Like remember COVID when it started? It wasn't necessarily the disease itself that caused shortages. It was people panicking and getting shit out of grocery stores
Mm-hmm.
that caused like a mass shortage.
Yeah.
And that mass shortage means that these stores gotta buy more shit, buy more product. And then let's hypothesize here. Stores buy more product, panic goes away, they're at a loss now. Stores go bankrupt. A lot of stores start closing down.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't happy because now there's no food to get because all these grocery stores closed down because they overbought shit and now they can't sell it. And then that causes even further conflict. So in that way, the population could manifest a war
Mm-hmm.
by panicking, you know, because if tensions are high, like let's suppose that um you're on the west side, I'm on the east side, like this, we're sitting with a line in between us. This line is not real until I mention it. You didn't think of it. It's kind of like that. Is that the tension is inside of me, but suddenly I say you're on the other side. What the fuck do you know? Then that creates animosity in you, and then you add on to that, and then you reply to me with something even worse, and then the tension rises.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the war, yeah, I guess war could start from your head and then become reality, but that's kind of like a dangerous thing because a lot of people are conflicted right now. They have to pay a shit ton of money to get a house. They barely make any money at a job, and the people that do make money at the job, they're still living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know why,
So the
but
so the whole question would be, how would we stop that?
yeah, by giving clarity, that is the whole question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you give clarity to these people that are so conflicted on the inside? You see, this is kind of a problem with majority too, like conformists, because they conform to religion, to politics, to anything what their bosses say, to the teachers, whatever you can think of as an authority figure, right? If they conform to it, then it means that if you're conforming to somebody, like if I conform to you and I trust everything you say, it means that I have my full faith in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole talk about faith. And then if you fail me, if I end up being injured or hurt with any way out, and you leave me, right? You don't take me out of the mud, then I got strong animosity against you
Yeah.
because I put my faith in you and you failed me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people put their faith in the political system by voting Republican or Democrat for so long, but it keeps failing them. But uh they're given false promises
Yeah.
or just promises. I don't want to say false. They're not always false.
Mm-hmm.
They're given promises that don't get fulfilled as often as they'd like to. And they see that their circumstances grow worse while these people say that they're going to make it better for them. So that they're going to have a question of faith eventually.
Yeah.
And that's when a rebellion happens. And that's when the government has to switch its ways, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because now nobody believes in the government. The government is just an idea
Mm-hmm.
that the majority made up. And some singularities control now that idea. It's like they have real estate over that idea.
Yeah.
But that idea's power can go away if the people are not pleased enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what a politician's job is to find a balancing act of keeping the state alive and keeping the people pleased. You
That
know,
makes sense.
because America is like pretty complicated in that sense. Because not only do they have to, well, every country, not only does a country have to worry about internal conflict, people rebelling against them, but they also have to make sure that another country doesn't get too powerful and attack them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these are just proxy wars. To
Yeah.
Ukraine is to stop Russia from expanding. Israel is to stop the Arab world from expanding. But the problem is Israel could become a world power on their own.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
We talked about this too.
That is
So
interesting.
that's why some people have a conflict of interest. It's like we're suffering inside America while you're helping these countries become more powerful. Why? Why are you helping the suffering people of these countries but not your own?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that's when people start losing faith.
Yeah.
But the real faith is lost when the shit that I'm saying now is put up on a platform and people actually listen to it and they're like, wait a minute,
It's up to him.
he's right.
It's up to him to understand.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's a dangerous thought because that could topple the system that we live in
Mhm.
by making the conformists, the majority, realize that their belief systems are wrong. They become chaotic, destructive. So even if you have like a media outlet like this where you're talking, if I actually get an audience, that could be really disruptive for society. Like it could really fuck up society.
Mhm.
Because I'm allowed to think like this because I'm the bad neuron. It's just how I've been wired to.
Mhm.
But if I try to turn the good neurons into bad neurons, then that could topple the whole system.
Mhm.
And while some people may fantasize about that, the reality is like we need a system,
Yeah.
a structure, so we don't go and kill each other.
Mhm.
Fuck, man. How did it all start?
I don't know, but that's the flow, bro.
But you really straight fast.
It's a softball interview.
So you would like to see her do more interviews, challenge more.
I don't know. I can't believe the whole thing is happening. We had a man in there that should have never been in there. They kept him in a basement. They used COVID. They cheated, but they used COVID to cheat. They cheated without COVID too. But you had somebody in there, and now we have a woman that is not. I mean, she couldn't do an interview. This was a really soft interview. This is an interview where they're given a multiple choice questions, multiple guess. I call it multiple guess. And I don't think she did well. I think she did very poorly.
How do you think you'll do in the debate coming up? It's in a few days.
So I've done a lot of debating, only as a politician. I never debated. My first debate was the Rosie O'Donnell debate, right? The famous Rosie O'Donnell debate, the answer. But I've done well with debates. I mean, I became president. Then the second time, I got millions more votes than I got the first time. I was told if I got 63 million, which is what I got the first time, you would win. You can't not win. And I got millions of more votes than that, and lost by a whisker. But and look what happened to the world with all of the wars and all of the problems, and look what happened with inflation, because inflation's just eating up our country, eating it up. So it's too bad. But there are a lot of things that could happen.
All right. That last sentence, like eating it up.
Yeah.
That's something they would clip and put it on media instead of like something that we pause off and start talking about.
I'm gonna go back a little
Yeah.
bit.
We have that, but inflation's just eating up our problems. And look what happened with inflation, because inflation's just eating up our country, eating it up. So it's too bad.
They would add that, so it's too bad.
I see.
It give a negative
I see.
view.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Because you could just do that and get away with it.
Because no motherfucker is actually gonna watch this.
No, yeah.
There's a typical Trump. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I kind of want to see Kamala as well.
I saw that. Yeah, we can see Kamala.
Yeah, I mean we could keep watching this, but I'm interested
curious
in kind
now.
of seeing this view
Yeah.
what Kamala says, like her answers. If
No,
it's-
that's something, dude.
if
That's
they're
actually something to think about.
You know what I mean?
I didn't think of it like that. I mean, I knew this happens, but to actually see it physically in front of your eyes is pretty interesting.
It's just the whole scrolling from social media.
Yeah. Why do you think people have short form attention span by default?
That's another.
Or is that a conditioning?
I feel like that's just not a system.
Do you think the human psyche is conditioned to act in a certain way so that it can be manipulated easily? Like it's not natural the way we think. It's just been enacted by some entity.
Maybe potentially.
That's what they call brainwashing, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we know we're not brainwashed?
Like falling on the opposite side.
Like let's assume we have been brainwashed.
Okay.
How do we know in what ways we've been brainwashed?
Would that question only be like a limitation to prevent us from going deeper into?
No, but this is going deeper.
Mm-hmm.
You're really exploring your psyche now by
Okay.
questioning it.
Yeah.
You're questioning the entire thing of whether your psyche is actually yours or whether it's been made
Okay.
by somebody else. Like think of Hitler, right? Um, I don't know what the fuck he did to brainwash people, but let's assume the kids in school, when they think of Hitler, he makes them say Hitler is great, and then see, this could be taken out of context too.
Yeah,
you know, that would be out of
exactly
context.
clip.
But he could say shit that would support his ideals, and that would be brainwashing.
And
But the kids don't know that they are being brainwashed.
they both play the game too.
What you mean?
Democrats and Republicans, because there's also stuff with Kamala says like there's a meme of I'm from the middle
Yeah, middle class.
from the middle.
Yeah,
That's a meme.
yeah,
That's big quick.
yeah. That is brainwash. But how do you know we're not brainwashed? Like let's assume we accept that majority is brainwashed, or the followers of a certain person are brainwashed, or a certain party. How do we know we are not part of that problem as well?
I guess we would have to figure and find out. Same way we find out right now about like opening up our psyche. We just have to continue this way until we realize no, this is also the wrong way.
But you could be looking for a long time. There has to be like a check, right? Like when have you seen Inception? The movie Inception. Have you seen it?
No. Man, I'm thinking, bro. I'm daydreaming.
There's a concept of the dream state in Inception where they have a little totem. You know what a totem is? It's like it's a little object.
Yeah.
They call it a totem. They use that to check whether they're in a dream or not. So if like let's say it's a little spinny thing. I don't know what they called it, but you could spin it. And the guy says that if it spins forever, I'm in a dream. But if it stops spinning, I'm in reality. So he has a reality check, right?
Yeah.
What is our reality check to know that we're not being brainwashed?
That's where my whole thing of faith comes in.
But that's could be brainwashing as well.
I'm just shit. I'm gonna bring it up because it just makes sense for me. That's like it's a whole thing loop. Like I said before, it's a whole loop thing where we don't have the answer or the knowledge yet, so we have to go back and play the video again or something, and maybe it'll connect later. Like how we did the last time. We played it instantly. Click play. He said exactly what we said. So maybe he's about to say exactly what he said.
I don't think he's about to.
Well, we'll fuck around and find out.
But there are a lot of things that could happen. We have to get those wars settled. We have to get. I'll tell you, you have to get Ukraine done. That could end up in a third world war. So could the Middle East.
See, we talked about this shit before.
So maybe let's talk about what it takes to negotiate with somebody like Putin or Zelensky. Do you think Putin would be willing?
Have we been brainwashed so far that we already know what he's gonna say? Is that brainwashing or is that free thinking? Because we already assume what he's gonna say.
It's free.
We say it before he says it.
It's free. Look, this is the whole concept I was saying. I am that guy right there, right?
Okay.
So we have this. We're understanding this knowledge now, and that is in forward. We are going to be in this power of position because we are thinking about that. And what we're thinking about is showing up in synchronicity, which is in a sign, which is my whole faith comes in.
But the whole thing is like, how can we unknowingly predict it so accurately?
The same reason I predict because I have faith in it because I know him is me. I am that guy right now.
You're him.
I'm him. I'm him. It's the whole oneness of things that I believe in. You know what I mean? Like everything's connected. Everything. It's me questioning your belief now.
Questioning I'm already questioning my belief, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so your reality check is your faith,
like
your abstract faith.
Yes,
that you're connected.
When I said that he was gonna say that next, that we were just talking about, I knew it, but at the same time, there was a system in me that was like, nah, you crazy. But I said, nah, fuck that. I know it because I wanted to say it. I would have kept it shut if maybe we didn't really know each other, anything like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
No.
No.
It can never make sense.
Yeah,
because it's an abstract concept.
It's my own belief. We have different beliefs, and it's kind of hard to. You're probably thinking the same thing, but I'm saying it in a completely different way.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to use reasoning to figure out how he says the same shit that we're talking about.
You're using reasoning. I'm using faith.
But your faith doesn't give you more knowledge; it just gives you comfort.
But that helps me get the knowledge that I know. Like I already know it. Since I already know it, that's my faith because I already know what I'm doing. I know it's gonna happen. I know things are gonna happen.
Okay, bro. What if Trump sends all Hispanics back home?
Well,
What about your faith?
Well, I don't believe in that, so I don't think it's gonna happen.
But let's
But
for the sake of assumption,
okay,
assume that you get sent home and you're. This is what I was saying about
you know what?
about faith, right?
Yeah.
Like religion,
Mhm.
people put their faith in it, but it fails them,
Mm-hmm.
and then their whole world turns upside down.
But you want to know the fun thing is, I would actually want to live back to El Salvador just because it sounds nice, and I had the best time over there because I was just walking around, no cars. It felt like paradise because I was walking around. It wasn't we didn't have all this technology. It was like
More connected.
it was like more with nature and stuff like that. It felt more spiritual. I felt more connected to it. I guess that's why when I came back, it's like I'm back to this system that I don't want to live in.
So you're saying even if you get sent back,
I wouldn't mind. Like I would be happy with that.
like even if you were in a position that he's in, you'd want to be sent back.
Well,
You'd want to send
if
your
I'm in the
people back.
position he is right. No, I wouldn't want to send people back. I'm not agreeing with sending anyone back.
Yeah.
I'm just saying right now, if I were to get sent back, that wouldn't affect me. So I'm not going to be pushing as hard as other people
Yeah.
that would get more affected towards that. But
So
I'm not saying force people to go back.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is that if you have faith, right? The the whole thing about faith to me is I have to think of how to say it properly. When I in my life, when I've relied on faith, I've been hurt, shot down, betrayed, not in a good state.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I relied on faith, not just religious faith, but in a sense relying on others.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you reach out to, like when you're, let's say, new to a school and you reach out to people hoping they'd be your friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they betray you by not becoming your friends or being nice to you, your faith kind of gets shook in a way.
Yeah.
Not the religious faith, but the faith of your trust in other people gets shook.
Mm-hmm.
So you become more hesitant in asking, in reaching out to people, you know. So faith is not fully reliable for me in doing a reality check. It's comforting to believe that everything is good and that everything is connected and that we're all the same, and then if I really try I could understand somebody's perspective. But at the same time that would mean nothing. You're just accepting reality. You're not really dissecting it. You're not changing reality. You're conforming to it.
Right here is where I would argue that it's more like you're not accepting. You are making your reality. You're not. It's not. You aren't accepting it. You're making your own.
By having faith.
Yeah, like you're creating everything that's happening right now. Like right now, we're making this a video.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we made a call video.
Yeah.
We're making our reality. In a sense, it's just the same way. That's the faith. That is what I connect faith to.
Okay.
We ourselves are, like you said, for you, it's more putting to action. For me, it's like putting faith. I'm putting all that, everything you said into that one thing, where it's called faith.
Oh yeah, we did talk about this. It's like even no matter what you do, the end result is action. It's like we're saying the same thing, but
it's a loop.
Yeah.
That's the whole Reddit thing that keeps coming up every time every time you bring it back up. It's over. It's a loop. It's a loop. You know what I mean? We're saying the same thing. We understand. You know?
Yeah, we're arguing over nothing basically. That I think at some point you start to understand when a conversation just isn't hitting it. You know,
it starts to get no. It's my
yeah.
So
but really,
it does get heated, but we're trying to see ourselves trying to open. You know what I mean? Open.
Yeah, and that shit is uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but it has to be done.
Progress.
Yeah, you could continue watching the video. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. Just
to give up any of the regions they already captured?
I don't know. I can tell you that all of this would have never happened, and it would have been very easy because you don't have, like, that question wouldn't be asked. You know, that's a tougher question. Once that starts happening, because he has taken over a lot of territory. Now, I guess they're insurgents now too, right? So, you know, it's a little bit interesting that that's happening and that it can happen. And it's interesting that Putin has allowed that to happen. Look, that's one that should have never started. We have to get it stopped. Ukraine is being demolished. They're destroying a great culture that's largely destroyed.
What do you think works better in those kinds of negotiations? Leverage of, let's say, friendship, the carrot or the stick? Friendship or sort of the threat of using the economic and military power?
So it depends on who the person is. It's everyone's different. Negotiation's interesting because it depends on who the person is, and then you have to guess or know through certain knowledge which is more important, the carrot or the stick. And with some people it's the stick, and with some people it's the carrot. I think the stick probably is generally more successful in that we're talking about war, but the kind of destruction that we're witnessing now, nobody's ever seen. I mean, it's a terrible thing, and we're witnessing it all over. We're witnessing it in all parts of the world, and a lot of things are going to get started. Look what's going on with China. Look at Japan. They're starting to rearm now. They're starting to rearm because China's getting, taking over certain islands, and there's a lot of danger in the war right now in the world. And there's a great possibility of World War III. And we better get this thing done fast, because 5 months with people like her and him, he's checked out. He just goes to the beach and thinks he looks good in a bathing suit, which he doesn't. He's sort of checked out. Hey, look, you can't blame him. That was a coup. They took it over. They took over the presidential deal. The whole presidential thing was taken over in a coup. He had 14 million votes. She had no votes, not one. And nobody thought it was going to be her. Nobody wanted it to be her. She was a joke until 6 weeks ago, when they said we're going to have to, politically, they felt they had to pick her. And if they didn't pick her, they thought there'd be a problem. I don't know if that's right or not. I actually don't think it's right, but they thought it was right. And now immediately the press comes to their aid.
If we can go back to China on negotiation, how do we avoid war with China in the 21st century?
Well, there are ways. Now, here's the problem. If I tell you how, and I'd love to do it, but if I give you a plan, like I have a very exacting plan how to stop Ukraine and Russia, and I have a certain idea, maybe not a plan, but an idea for China, because we're in a lot of trouble. They'll be in a lot of trouble too, but we're in a lot of trouble. But I can't give you those plans, because if I give you those plans, I'm not going to be able to use them. They'll be very unsuccessful. Part of it's surprise, right?
Right.
But they won't be able to help us much.
So you have a plan of what, right?
But I'm not going to be able to use them. They'll be very unsuccessful. Part of it's surprise, right?
Right.
But they won't be able to help us much.
So you have a plan of what to say to Putin.
Yeah, I know.
When you take
exactly.
office.
No, I had a very good relationship with him, and I had a good relationship with Zelensky too. But I had a very good relationship.
Why does America have to be the judge?
Because they always come to us.
Did
They
they?
rely on us.
Did they? I think that's. Man, I need to get ChatGPT working, because this is the type of shit I wanted to ask it.
Yeah, that is interesting. Are we that guy, or do we want to be that guy? Oh no. Yeah, bro.
With Putin.
Tough.
Ukraine. They did ask for America's help.
And so to
So America is like that.
look at Taiwan as well, because I think it's because Taiwan relies on us giving them like guns, right, and stuff like that. Like that's what I just ask ChatGPT.
How about we check on Israel? Did Israel ask for America's help?
They probably did.
I heard about, like, there's a strong Jewish community here that's forcing the politics of America to help Israel. Let's see. about Israel. Well,
What the Taiwan joke, by the way. That's all I got.
Israel and Taiwan are two countries where dynamics of U.S. involvement are somewhat similar, but also distinct. In both cases, the U.S. has been a major ally and has provided significant support. But the nature of the support and the reasons for U.S. involvement are shaped by different geopolitical contexts. Has been a staunch ally of Israel since the country's founding. For Israel has not had to ask for U.S. intervention in the sense of military intervention, but it has consistently received U.S. military aid, diplomatic support, and weapons sales. Why is Israel?
Expose my email. I'm about to get flooded. Flooded by email, bro.
You do have an account, right?
For what?
For ChatGPT?
I have it on my phone. I don't know if it's signed up.
Yeah, I put it up.
Got me, bro. But that's my main email too, bro.
My bad.
Once I blow up, oh yes, this video.
I'm gonna ask, why is America such a strong supporter? Um, We've done a mix of historical, political, and shared democratic values. What the fuck does that mean? Free election, freedom of speech, and independent judiciary. Uh, the U.S. played a significant role in the establishment of Israel, supporting its recognition as a sovereign state. Strategic interests. The region is often marked by instability. Israel serves as a strategic partner in counterterrorism, intelligence sharing, and technological innovation. So really, Israel is supposed to be like a spy for America.
No different perspective on the region. What if Israel kind of like back then, like it was at first a minority, right? And now it's kind of just growing and growing.
Yeah,
That's all I had.
that's it.
Yeah, I lost my thought. I was going somewhere with that, but
Are you talking about like when the majority's done being conforming, and then they're like enough is enough, and then they
yeah,
backfire?
yeah,
Is that what you're going with?
kind of.
Think about that.
Roy,
Yeah,
Roy.
yo,
What?
we're streaming.
Oh, so. It's not like they know his first name. It's not like they know who he is right now. He's not here. Until he shows up.
Yeah. So Israel bottled up feelings, and now it's mad,
Yeah.
and now it's taking revenge because they were pretty.
Well, here's the thing.
There was a lot of prejudice against Jewish people throughout history,
Yeah.
even in these religious texts.
It's a thinker.
Because like it's portrayed as if Jewish people killed Jesus, right?
Oh, I don't even know.
Come on, bro. I thought you're
You see, this
from
is the
that.
you always say it's upper religion, but I know like the basis. You know what I'm saying? I
Okay.
never read like the Bible.
All I'm saying is
I
that
don't know who killed. Oh wait, I do know that one of his followers betrayed him.
Judas.
Yeah, I don't know. Was he Jew?
No.
You can actually try to put him.
Was Judas Jew?
Or you can just ask if Jew is Jewish.
Okay.
I thought you can write in the Christ.
In the what?
Right? He's in the.
Hey, don't take your Lord's name in vain. He was Jewish. Judas was Jewish.
So I guess in a way, yeah, you're right.
Jesus was Jewish as well, though.
Oh, they what?
Everybody was Jewish. They were from Hebrew tribes, right?
So what was the question?
Why do Christians, extremist Christians and Muslims, look down upon Jews? Like
They killed
in
their
the
kind.
huh?
They killed their own kind. The Judas is Jew. Jesus is Jew. So maybe that's how they look down upon them.
But they still revere Jesus as God, at least in Christianity and in Quran as a prophet. So Jesus is Jewish too, but maybe they don't accept that in those books. Maybe in Christianity they see Jesus as a Christian, not as a Jew. And maybe in Islam they see Jesus as a Muslim, not as a Jew. And of course in the Torah there's no mention of Jesus because that was before his time. All it was that a Messiah would come.
So looking at it in a more spiritual way, someone could have. This could have been like implantate like the original thought of the story.
Okay. Come on, bro.
It's so hard to put into words.
All I'm trying to say is that now this is a wild idea, and not many people, especially religious people, are willing to accept it.
Mhm.
Religion could have been used to institutionalize certain ideas to pass laws and create wars. Like, isn't that what Hitler did? Hitler already didn't like the Jews, and then he could have used religious ideas to even put further hate on them.
What was one big script?
Let's see. Did Hitler use Christianity to persecute? I know he was trying to make his own version of Christianity too. Manipulated elements of Christianity to justify and advance their anti-Semitic agenda. So religion is in fact used.
Yeah, it's used and manipulated, but it could be true.
It doesn't matter if it's true or not,
But think about it. This like
because we're not talking about the common people here. We're talking about the greedy people who use this to justify their actions. It could be true, but the people that exploit it don't think of sin or don't think of hell.
Mhm.
So to them, of course, it's not true because they're killing people. And even more so, the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah all have cases of violence, like extreme violence, like what I was saying about Moses eradicating an entire civilization. So the way these books are written makes it to justify anything wrong. There's a verse in the Bible about rape. If a woman gets raped, she has to marry the rapist.
Can you say it on Twitch? Huh? Can you say it on Twitch?
Oh shit, I don't know. On to Rumble. I mean, like, look, I'm not trying to. What's the word? Instigate. I'm not trying to instigate anything. I'm just saying, like, it's a real possibility that Jewish people face so much persecution, and then at some point they had enough, and now they're out for blood. You know, because it's been so hard for them to make a place of their own in the world. They were persecuted in Germany. They were persecuted in olden times, Rome, whatever you want to say it. They were persecuted even before that in Egypt, according to the Torah. Historically, Jews have been persecuted, right?
Mhm.
Like, we could all agree on that. And if I'm hitting you every day, like if I'm punching you on the arm every day, one day you're going to punch back. One day. Maybe not the first day, maybe not the second day. But eventually, either you're going to strengthen, you're going to make yourself stronger, so I don't even try to punch you, or you make yourself stronger to punch me back. You know?
Mhm.
That's just how persecution works. in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like that's how bullying works, right? If you get bullied too much, either you give in or you try to better yourself so you can't be bullied anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, you try to do something. Like if somebody bullied me, I could have just isolated myself, gotten myself away from that situation, which is supposed to be the nation of Israel. It's an isolation from everybody that persecuted them. It's a safe haven for Jewish people.
Mm-hmm.
But then they come to find out there's a piece of the population that's not Jewish, so persecution continues.
Yeah.
You know, it could. I don't know how the Palestinians were, but I know they're being killed right now, which is sad.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people try to understand the Jewish perspective either. Like what they're doing now is pretty ruthless, and maybe they even know that it's pretty ruthless. But maybe that's how they find peace in knowing that if we have this country all to ourselves, we have a place in this world, and nobody can take it away from us. Maybe that's what their driving force.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
That's why they're so ruthless.
Yeah.
I don't justify it by saying this what they're doing is good, but I can understand it from a psychological perspective. If you think of like a bully and the person getting bullied,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like we just don't have enough data. Like I can openly go and condemn Israel for what they're doing. That's easy to do. You just have to look at surface level knowledge of children are being killed in Palestine. So Jewish people bad. But what led to it? How did it all come to be? They didn't suddenly just start killing children, you know? As bad as that is. It must have come from somewhere, right? Their children were killed in the Holocaust. Maybe they're still holding on to that. Or even before that.
Yeah.
So this war is just a lack of communication.
That makes
The
sense.
Muslims think the Jews are bad, the Jews think the Muslims are bad in this case, between Palestine and Israel. It could be just a religious war, bro. That's still entirely possible. Many people are still heavily religious that they'll be willing to fight for it.
But would you say that's more just of the radical side?
How many people do you think are radical?
Man.
It could be majority. Majority of people could be radical. They must be radical to not accept anything other than their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad could be radical in the sense that he accepts God, but if anybody tries to question it, he could get mad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just using him as an example. He's not entirely like that, but he is religious, right? So
Yeah.
he's an easy example. But you can say that about any older person, right? Their beliefs get more rigid with time, which would make them extremists, right?
Mhm.
Radicals. That if somebody asks you for help, or you ask somebody for help, and they say ask Jesus, he will take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
You're still suffering,
Yeah.
right? At least in the current term. Maybe in the future your suffering goes away and you can attribute it to Jesus, or simply that life moves on,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But the radical person would say, in this scenario, the radical person would say that Jesus made your life better.
Mm-hmm.
And the atheist person would say, no, I made physical changes and spiritual changes in my life
Yeah.
to make it better. Who is right and who is delusional?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say, you know? To each, it seems radical. The atheist thinks that the religious person is radical, the religious person thinks the atheist is radical. The loop, again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like facts. No, everything you said, bro. I agree. Yeah, like I don't know.
You
What
gotta
else,
stop saying
I
that.
don't know what else to say because everything you said, bro, I agree with. Like I can't. There's no like counter arguing with that or anything I have to say. But facts.
Shut your ass up.
I mean, shit. You said you'd like to hear yourself talk, right?
No, I never said
You
that.
said that earlier
What did I say?
in the car.
What did I say?
I can't say the exact words
Why not?
because you said something inappropriate.
Check
You remember?
out the inappropriate part, bro.
No, because that was pretty funny.
No, that's crazy. I didn't see. I don't like hearing myself talk. I like being given an opportunity to be heard. I think there's a difference. Yep.
Shall we continue, bro?
Shall we call it a stream, bro?
We could.
First stream. So the next hour we could take to give ourselves feedback.
We got 2 minutes to like watch.
That is true. Alright, y'all, we're gonna call it a stream. Peace out. camera right there. Peace out. We'll see you when
Later.
later. We'll see you later. Hold on. All right.